Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Kagan Dunlap channel. I've been gone for about a week, but a lot of stuff's happened since I've been gone, huh? Yeah? You guys want to tell me about what happened? Want to tell me about it? Yeah, the former President Donald Trump was the subject of a second assassination attempt this past week. Actually, yesterday, while he was golfing and he was at the fifth hole, I believe, at the West Palm Beach golf course that he likes to go to. So the alleged and charged individual is a guy by the name of Ryan Wesley Routh. He's 58 years old, got a big criminal record. He's being charged with felony possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. That's the first charge. The second charge is felony possession of a firearm with a destroyed serial number. Essentially like, a rifle that was defaced so that it doesn't have a serial number showing. This guy has a very complicated story. He's from North Carolina, but he moved to Hawaii, and he's lived in Hawaii for a little while. Apparently, I've heard different conflicting things. I've heard that he's registered as an independent. I've also heard that he's registered as a Democrat. The one thing that I have seen that's confirmation of is that he has donated to the Democrat Party for, I think, 19 or 20 separate occasions. However, he did claim to have voted for Donald Trump in 2016's election. Interesting to see the dynamic. His son's come out and said that this doesn't seem like something my dad would do. So he's like, what the hell? I don't understand why, this just doesn't seem right. He's like, I know that we both don't like Donald Trump, but this seems like out of character for him. Now, there's footage that's been kind of resurfacing from 2022 that was filmed by Newsweek when he was in Romania. He had traveled to Romania in an effort to try to join the Ukrainian International Foreign Legion, and they turned him away because he was too old. He was too old. They were like, yeah, you're not really what we're looking for. We're looking for more younger guys. And so on his own and of his own accord, he decided that he was going to try to make efforts to help recruiting for them because he believed in the defense of Ukraine. He believed in the war effort, and he personally believed that it was up to him and he had an obligation to help recruit people to the Ukrainian Foreign Legion. So Newsweek interviewed this guy, and I want to go over the interview with you guys. I just think it'd be interesting to see what he had to say.
Please tell me who you are and why are you here?
56 from the U.S.
Yep, checks out because he's 58 right now, so he must have been 56 2 years ago.
North Carolina originally, so live in Hawaii now, so flew all the way from Hawaii here.
Checks out.
So the question as far as why I'm here, to me, a lot of the other conflicts are gray, but this conflict is definitely black and white. This is about good versus evil. This is a storybook, any movie we've ever watched, this is definitely evil against good. I mean, we're battling a situation here where, the Ukrainians and the rest of the world are caring and kind and generous and unselfish and take care of one another. And it's just a matter of, we need to stand up for that. That is the most important thing in the world, is just to show human beings that we're kind and we're caring and that we take care of one another and that the world is united so that we feed each other and make sure that we all move forward as one collective whole unit. So, we feel the pain of one country's failure and their conflicts, and we enjoy the successes of other countries that are doing good, and we all work together. And for some reason, Russia does not grasp this concept that we're all one unit.
So this is very interesting to see, because this is kind of like a, we're all in it together. That sounds... So, okay, fair enough. We should be looking out for each other. We should be taking care of each other. We shouldn't be working against each other, even if we're in different countries. We should find a way to come together, to work together, to build the success of everybody. I have a lot of friends that have fought over there. I have a lot of friends that are over there and have been going back and forth from over there to help out, doing various things from demining the fields that farmers work on to training them to perform, teaching them first aid and providing medical supplies. So I get that. It's very interesting to hear this guy's perspective on it, considering his background. Being a nearly 60-year-old man, I wonder if it's his version of a midlife crisis. Now, because I have a lot of friends that have been supportive of this thing, totally get it. But this guy, he's got a pretty extensive criminal record, hasn't really done a whole lot with his life prior to this. And I wonder if maybe he was just like at this point having a midlife crisis and he was like, this is my purpose in life. Maybe he felt that way. I don't know. There's no way to tell. I mean, I'm not inside of his head, so.
And we have to get along and work together and be normal human beings. This is 2022. We have to work together. It seems asinine that we have a leader in a country that does not understand the concept of being unselfish and being generous and being kind and just the basic moral values that are required by human beings these days. It blows my mind.
And what are you doing here in Ukraine?
My initial goal was to come and fight. I think everybody around the globe should be motivated to come here and support the Ukrainians and support the army, no matter what gender, age, anything. Everybody should be here.
Everybody should be here, no matter what gender or age. Yeah, well, again, like I said, this guy, he went over there originally because he wanted to join the international, like the Ukrainian Foreign Legion. He wanted to fight with them, and they turned him down because he was too old.
Supporting the army, but I'm 56, so initially they were like, well, I have no military experience, so they're like, you're not an ideal candidate. So they said, not right this minute.
Yeah.
So plan
no
B,
military experience either.
Here to Kyiv
Okay.
And promote getting more people here. We need thousands and thousands and thousands of people here fighting with the Ukrainians. We need, we've got 190 countries around the world, and we need thousands from all of them. If the governments will not send their official military, then we civilians have to pick up the torch and make this thing happen. And we've gotten some wonderful people here, but it's a small fraction of the number that should be here. If we have 5,000, to 10,000 people here fighting, that is just a minuscule amount of the 5 billion people on the globe. We need everyone here fighting. That's why I'm in Kyiv. So every project.
So he says we need everyone here fighting, but he doesn't give any reason why. Like, I think his reason why is like, we should all be in this together. We should be helping each other. We should be fighting over here as one unit, as a human race, to like fight off evil, right? Good versus evil, like he was saying in the beginning. If I had to guess.
That I promote is about getting people here to support the Ukrainians. We were at a critical juncture in this war where we are sitting on the fence as far as whether good or evil is going to win. Right now we're looking at a situation where the world is waning and it's thinking that this is important or not. And we're at a point where, all right, are we going to stand for humanity, for human rights, for everything that is good with the world? Or are we just going to ignore it? If everybody is complacent and doesn't join this fight, then guess who's going to win? It might take 10 years, but we're going to lose this battle if everyone around the globe does not stop what they're doing, get off the couch, and come to Ukraine and defend the human rights of everyone around the globe. This is the most important thing going on in the world today. So sitting around and letting life go on as normal and complaining about gas prices and complaining about,
The thing is that, like, I get what he's saying. Like, okay, Russia invaded Ukraine. They invaded a sovereign nation and started destroying it. Like, that's wrong. That is, like, inherently wrong. The reasons behind why they did it are very muddy. They said it was a special training operation or whatever they were calling it. It's like they attacked, they invaded another country. He has a specific perspective that's like unique to a lot of individuals. I think that it's a lot more complicated than just, hey, Russia invaded Ukraine. It's up to all of us to go there and fight, defend Ukraine. While I do believe that it's important to, help people around the world, it's hard for me to like get on board with like, hey, Americans should go fight in Ukraine to defend Ukraine. Like, it's tough to say, but this guy was obviously very bought in. Like, and again, I've got a lot of friends that are over there in Ukraine who have been over there in Ukraine. I've got a lot of friends who are Ukrainian. I'm not like for or against it. I do believe they deserve to have their own sovereign nation, and they need to find some way they need to figure out a way to come to peace, because like there's too many people losing their lives. But anyway, let's keep going.
Your luxury life in whatever country you live in is unacceptable. As human beings, we must support each other. We cannot turn our backs on anyone around the world and expect the problem to go away. So I've been dealing with Russia for my entire life. You know, we had one period where it was okay, but now we've let it slip back into terrorism. So it's just, the world needs to respond. You know, why world leaders are not sending military is beyond me. We're going to have to elect new leaders the next go around that have a
The reason why military leaders are not sending their military is because the second you do that, then it becomes multiple nations involved. And then you can, you're on the brink of World War III at that point. People need to try to de-escalate this thing. That's what everybody's trying to do. Well, that's what I think a large majority of people would like to do. Some people are not trying to do that, but I think that it's in everybody's probably best interest, right, to de-escalate this thing so that way we don't end up with World War III. That's my personal opinion.
Backbone, and that, have the fortitude to say, hey, we're not going to tolerate this type of behavior. This type of behavior is unacceptable anywhere, any place, So it's totally unacceptable. And why people are not responding, I do not know.
What impressed you the most since you are here?
My trip to Irpin was pretty emotional. So, going and seeing the buildings that were burned and destroyed and things of that nature. I think more emotional for me is just talking to the guys that have come here. When you talk to a 20-year-old guy that sold everything he owns to come here to fight, that is heroism. He's coming here to risk his life for humanity, for the Ukrainians, guys that sell everything they own to come here and support the Ukrainians while others sit at home and do nothing. It's totally mind-blowing how we have this divide of people that are selfless and courageous and wonderful and willing to sell everything they own to come here and support, keep people from getting killed, to shelter kids and protect Ukrainians, and others that just, want to sit at home and not. It's just, it's an indictment of our entire human society to say, hey, where do we stand? Do we stand for good?
So that's interesting. I know a lot of guys that went over there to fight, who served in the Marine Corps, served in the military, that got out of the military. And then as civilians, they didn't have an opportunity to experience combat and they wanted to, or maybe they did experience combat and they wanted to experience it again. So they went over there and volunteered for the Foreign Legion. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's not easy because, again, there are innocent women and children losing everything they have. They're losing their homes. They're losing their family. They're losing their pets, their loved ones. Entire cities are being destroyed. It's been savage. It's been a savage war. Right. I think at the end of the day, really, again, we got to find a way to peace, and what that looks like, I don't know. I've heard from a lot of people that, a lot of the eastern territories, the eastern area of Ukraine is largely Russian speaking. I can't verify. I've never been there. I don't know. That's just what I've heard from a lot of people that I've talked to that have been over there and know a little bit about the politics. But then again, it's like people are like, well, what if you surrender certain territories, who's to say they're not going to keep coming? Well, what's worse, losing thousands and thousands of more of your countrymen's lives, or losing a little bit of territory, shrinking a little bit, and then the war ending and then it de-escalating and everybody getting back to a place of peace where you're not having the capital of your country get missile attacks and drone strikes and all kinds of stuff against it anymore. I don't know. It's a tough one.
Or do we just not care? I mean, does the world not care? That's the feeling that I wrestle with every day in my interactions with everybody. Every one of us is responsible for the outcome of this war. Every one of us, by our actions and what we do. And, when I call back home and say, hey, I need $5 so I can, put enough money together to get a vest for a Ukrainian, and I get no response, I'm like, I'm not sure that the world is as wonderful as I once thought it was. I had thought that everyone would respond, very generously and unselfishly, and you don't have to come, but if I ask for $5 to buy a vest to save a Ukrainian life, it seems like that would be a no-brainer. But I increasingly get more disappointed in humanity, and I'm beginning to question whether or not we're going to end up on the right side of this equation.
So you are working with the International Legion.
Yes.
Okay, so that's not true. The international, like the Ukrainian International Legion came out and said they've never worked with this guy and that he's not affiliated with them in any way. He approached them attempting to join, and like I said, they turned him away because he didn't have any military experience and he was too old, right? He is trying to work with them at this point. I think that's more what he was like in his head meaning.
And you are trying to convince people to help, to donate, and to join.
Yeah.
My final question is, what would you say to the people in order to convince them to join the International Legion, or to donate for it, or to be involved in the humanitarian aid to Ukraine?
Right. It's just extremely important, the whole thing. As far as joining the military, yes, if you have some military experience or know people with military experience, encouraging them to come and fight. We have units all over the place. So, there were some leadership issues initially, but we've got so many units available to us: Georgian, Crimean, Ukrainian, Territorial Defense, Foreign Legion. We have, so many paramilitary groups. I put a 74-year-old Japanese guy in a unit. So, we have girls in units. So we have two girls that are in the unit.
That's confusing. He says, I put a 72-year-old Japanese guy in a unit. The way he phrased that sounded like he's like, it was because of me that they got that guy. Now the two girls thing, yeah, I've seen a lot of I've seen a couple of Georgian ladies, but there's probably, you've seen a lot of the videos, I'm sure, but anyway.
Up the street, so any gender, any age, any skill level to no skill level. But yeah, if you want to fight, come here and see me, and I'll put you in a unit so you can go fight. But regardless of that, we should have thousands upon thousands of people standing here with you.
See, that's the thing. It's like he's making it sound like he worked for them or like he was working with them. He's like, I'll put you in a unit. Like, it's like, don't worry, I'll get you in there. Like he's the recruiter, or like the door, or like he's the gatekeeper or something. I don't know. That seems odd, especially considering that the Ukrainian Foreign Legion like publicly said they never had anything to do with this guy.
Ukrainians, this Maiden Square, Independence Square, we should have millions of people in this square, filling the square from every country around the world. And why we don't, I don't understand. I'm here every day with all the flags from all the supporting countries, with the memorials for the people that have died. And, I've had several people come, but just a handful, So it blows my mind that I'm standing here alone without thousands of people from every country, from Asia, from Africa, from Australia, from Canada, from everywhere in South America, every place.
Europe.
Europe, everywhere. We need everybody here. If you have no skills, just come. We need to be cheerleaders. Just being here and saying, hey, I support the Ukrainians, and I support human rights, and I support good and generosity.
I get what he's saying. It's like, yeah, okay, just being here and being cheerleaders. Well, people got to eat. People got to work. The Ukrainians aren't going to just pay Americans to come over there and support them, And most people don't have money. Most people in America don't have enough money to just to even take off of work for 1 week. Like people are working paycheck to paycheck here. Most people can't afford to just travel overseas and go volunteer and, to do stuff. Like they've got kids, they got bills, like they can't afford gas, they can't afford a vacation. It's tough, man. But I get what he's saying. It's just like, it's a very pie in the sky kind of way of looking at things, if I had to give it a description.
And caring and kindness and altruism, and it's just, we need to show the world that we care. And it's essential. You know, if you don't do any work at all, just being here and supporting and showing them that we care for our fellow human beings is the most important thing we can do.
Okay, so this is the video of Ryan Wesley Routh getting arrested yesterday on the side of the road in West Palm Beach, Florida, by the sheriff's department. You see they're all stacked up. They probably told him to get out of the car and start walking to them slowly. Okay, so Martin City, Florida Sheriff's Department. Yeah, it's the body cam footage there. Yeah. Okay, there he is. Yeah, he had his shirt up around his head. They probably told him to lift your shirt all the way up and back up to us slowly. Hold on, let's go back. Where is he? Yeah, he's in custody now. But very strange. When the Secret Service spotted him, he was at this like fence right in the bush, like the bush line, the tree line, and he had what looks like an AK style weapon and a GoPro and a backpack. So he bounced and fled the scene in fear, and then they pulled him over up the street. Apparently, when they pulled him over, he was cool, calm, and collected, from what I've heard. Very complicated story. You know, there's all kind. Every time something like this happens, the conspiracy theorists come out of the woodwork, and there's all kinds of stuff flying out the window all over the place. There's no way to prove any of that stuff. The bottom line is the guy, like the facts are, is that the guy has contributed to the Democratic Party, I think 19 or 20 times. I don't know if he actually voted for Trump in 2016, but apparently he had tweets out there that said he had voted for Trump. Can't verify that anymore because his X account got deleted. So there's no way for you to go back and delve back into those to see what they said. His son said that neither him nor his father liked Trump now. Take that for what you will. I think more information is going to come out about this in the coming days as they start to unravel this thing and like figure out what was going on and who he had ties to and like what's going on with it. I think the thing is that I think the FBI is investigating this. So I don't know. Again, I'm not like here to spout off conspiracies because I'm not really interested in conspiracy theories. I like facts. I like seeing facts in front of me. And I like knowing, okay, this is something that's provable. This is something that's provable. This is something that's provable. And then you lay that all out on the table and then you try to come up with your own opinions on stuff based on that. So anyway, I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about this as they unravel it, like I said. And, you know, as these things unfold, I will try to keep you updated with anything that I discover. Until next time.